All right. And today on the ARC Entrepreneur Podcast, I think we're talking about one of the most seminal decisions that people have to make and realizations and mindsets that a Christian entrepreneur needs to realize. And that is the importance of their time. Who owns it?
Yeah, I mean, it's about reclaiming it. Who's it belong to? It belongs to God. Ultimately, it's not our time. He's given it to us to use for him. And how can we reclaim that time that we're frivolously just getting rid of for mindless activities and meaningless things? It's going to be a really great listen.
We go into a little bit more of how it actually affects not just your finances, but your family and your ability to serve God. And I think it's vitally important that we sit down every single day, take these steps that we talk about to audit your time, to see what's being stolen, what's being sold, how much we're selling our time for, and how much we're actually able to give. And then what we can do to actually reclaim that time. You're going to enjoy some things coming out of this that's going to be very impactful for your personal life, your business life, and in your family. Let's get to the podcast. All right, and welcome back to the ARC Entrepreneur Podcast. I don't know why I just sang that. That's how it goes.
I don't
All right. That's the downside of, I think, recording in the afternoons. I think your brain is trying to fall asleep, and you're just trying to fight it as much as humanly possible, and you just find yourself singing to yourself.
Hey, look, whatever makes it happen.
Yeah, I've noticed. I got two kids. I'm singing to myself in the car. You know, it used to be like, AC/DC and old school stuff or worship. Now it's Miss Rachel. I sing to all the. I do the da 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 dun da dun da dun. Skidamarinka dinky dink. I sing Skidamarinka dinky dink all the time because it's my daughter's favorite song. But anyway,
Standing in line at the bank and you're like going down, picking out your groceries, putting it in the cart.
I count them and then categorize them by color. I announce the color of every item I put in my grocery basket.
How many do we have, folks? 1, 2.
1.
I'm like the 1.
Yes. Oh, you're going old school, Sesame Street, or now it's HBO. So
is it HBO?
It is. HBO bought Sesame Street.
Sesame Street got an upgrade.
Yeah.
Down?
Depends on how you go. It's back to HBO Max now. It used to just be Max. They tried to be all cool. And then they changed it back with in less than a year. They changed it back.
It's because people are confused. They're like, what's HBO Max? Never heard of it.
I think it's confusing because there was a station, or I guess it still is, Cinemax. And I think people were either assuming it was that.
Yeah.
Either HBO or Cinemax were trying to be cool with a short name.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Marketing is important. I think they took a hit on subscriptions, I think, just by dropping the HBO brand.
Isn't that weird how that works?
I mean, yeah, of course, hindsight's 2020, but I mean, you got to think about that in business. Brand is everything.
That's true.
We need to talk about that one day.
Yeah,
what your brand is.
I guess I think about HBO. If it said HBO Max, I'm still going to go to HBO. I don't know.
I know.
I'm not going to go there because it's HBO Max.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's like X. People still call it. I mean, every time you see it written in a news article, it always says X, formerly Twitter.
Sure.
Like, how long is that going to be before they drop that?
Well, the next generation will do it.
True. That never knew it.
But things will always be that way. Like they call it the Bay Center now. I will forever call it the Civic Center. Forever. That's what it is.
Did it change companies?
No, the city owns it, but
what's the city?
It used to be the Pensacola Civic Center. Now it's Pensacola Bay Center.
I think it's not the Civic Center anymore because they don't have that hotel there.
Maybe.
That hotel's still empty, that big tower down there.
Yeah. So
we ought to buy that.
I even said, hey, we ought to go see the what's the Ice Flyers? Are they called the Ice Flyers now? And they used to be the Ice Pilots. I was like, hey, we need to go see Ice. I've never seen an Ice Pilot game. She's like, they're the Ice Flyers. I was like, since when? Is that like a recent change? She's like, 10 years ago. Well, shows you how much I watch hockey.
Right.
But that's what they used to be, the Ice Pilots.
Aren't they like a minor league in hockey? Is that how it is?
Is there a minor league? I don't know. You asked me the question. I now regret bringing it up. If you're going to ask me questions of things I don't know, and I feel dumb.
Hey, now here's the benefit of business. Where I went to college, I don't know if you ever read the Left Behind books.
Watch the movies, though.
Tim LaHaye wrote those books with Jerry Jenkins. Tim LaHaye's grandson went to school with me. I think he was maybe a year or two ahead of me. And my university had a hockey team. It was relatively new. I think they were just expanding their athletics, and so they went into hockey. But the only place to practice was at the I think it was the county rec center. I think the county had an ice rink in Virginia there. And so grandson goes back and says, yeah, I mean, I love it. We have terrible facilities because we have to use the county stuff or whatever. So Tim will, hey, use some left behind money. And next thing you know it, we got a 20 million ice rink. And so we all started going to, hockey games. Of course, most of us from the South never seen a hockey game.
Yeah.
And we walked in there. Of course, it was like 45 degrees in there, which is heaven for me.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, short sleeves. I don't have to,
Yeah.
go shirtless, which is no one wins. But I was like, this is actually like kind of cool. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But I like to watch it from time to time. I don't know where to go to watch it. That's my only thing now.
Yeah.
I like tennis. I like watching tennis and golf. Sorry, private school boy. And I have to go to Disney to get them now.
That's true.
Got to go to Disney and the ESPN to try to get it because it doesn't. I don't even think they play it on. Where do you go to find an air like NBC? Do you get an antenna still?
Well, no, you have YouTube TV. That's what I have.
See, that's more expensive than Disney.
It's free for me. But
how do you get it for free?
I can tell you that's a secret.
Yeah. Remember when the cable guy used to hook you up?
That's right.
He's like, hey, I threw in a couple extra packs.
I had cable.
I can't do that with you.
4 years. It was just there when we moved in for 4 years. And then one day in the middle of a show, it went off. And I was like, well, what in the world? At some point, they just figured it out. I'm like, well.
We're wondering where that $100 a month was going.
And whoever had it before, they had the premium package because they had everything. I'm like, well, this was
a sad terrific. Day. And you're like, well, I don't want to pay for it now,
And this goes to show you, it kind of leads into what we're talking about today, but they had the premium package. We were living in a mobile home, like in an old trailer park. That probably shouldn't have had more than the rabbit ear antennas, to be honest with you. And yet they had everything.
The cost of living is pretty low.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So make an okay hourly wage. You can probably fill it up with whatever you need to.
That's true. I guess so. But hey, that's okay.
Speaking of which, there is a mobile home park for sale in this Escambia County. It just came on.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them coming on. I'm not sure. I haven't researched a lot in the market for that. It's not considered multi-unit. It's considered multi-family property, which a lot of people try to stay away from. But there are some that are like mixed. They can be single-family, multi-family zoned. That's an old zoning. And if it existed before they changed the zoning, it's grandfathered in. So people can get these mobile home parks almost pennies on the dollar if they want. I know a lot of people do that as kind of entry level into multifamily and apartments, complexes and stuff like that. So, but if you've ever been to Pensacola, you'll just be driving down a relatively nice neighborhood and then bam, mobile home park.
That's right.
That's where we grew everywhere.
So I know where they're at. And you said multifamily. I was like, well, is that because there's multiple people from the family living in that? I mean, sometimes growing up, we had multiple families in one place.
Multifamily is separate than multi-unit. So a multi-unit is one building with multiple units.
Yeah.
Multifamily is multiple plots under the same property.
It's just multiple families in one mobile home.
It can't be.
It's what happens when you're broke. Everybody moves in together.
And when I was in college, I was one side of a duplex, me and one roommate on one side of the duplex. The other duplex, I don't know if I ever saw everyone that lived there. I think we stopped counting at like 13 or something like that. There's only one person on the lease. So nice. Yeah. They never paid a dime towards their rent. They just had everybody paid $8 a month.
Yeah, that's right.
Got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
That's it.
Smart. Anyway.
Hard to get a shower.
You had a good week?
I had a great week.
You had an interesting week.
I did have an interesting week.
That's probably why we're so tired.
Most likely. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. I had a very interesting week. We won't go into that part, but we're on a very unique copper project right now at a house, and it's a large copper project, but it's really, really nice.
Does it take longer, yard for yard as opposed to aluminum? Does it take long?
No. Well, for us, no, because we deal with it enough. A lot of guys take a little bit longer. Well, it's just something we do. Listen, when you...
For us, we're amazing. It's faster.
As good as you are, you got to tell everybody, look at me. I'm terrific. So for all these other terrible people or bad people, bad gutter guys, for all these other people...
Name some names.
I'm not going to name names.
Let's take the next 10 minutes and list all of our competitors that other people shouldn't work with.
If you'd have asked me that before on air, I'd have written up something, blended them all in there. Nobody would have known.
I put their pictures up on the post here tonight.
That's right. But no, so we just do it so much. It's not something most people do around here. Matter of fact, they shy away from it. because it can be not daunting, but it's expensive. And so one mistake,
A different skill set.
not really. It's the same skill set, but it's just everything is different when it comes into price. If you mess up a piece of aluminum gutter, you run it wrong or you cut it wrong, you start over, it's not crazy expensive. You do it copper, it is crazy expensive. I mean, you're talking about 10 times the price on the material cost versus the aluminum cost. So, one little mistake can be very costly and people don't want to handle that.
Does it come in those big rolls like the aluminum does?
Not big rolls because you're not.
Right.
So for those who can see it, if you take a aluminum roll that's about 2 inches thick, that's usually about 300 pounds, maybe 2.5 inches thick. That's about, 300 feet. It's only about 3/4 of an inch on copper to be that same weight. It's very dense, and very malleable.
Yeah.
So we get new guys in, and I'm like, hey, go pick up that coil over there. And they think, oh, I can go snatch that thing up because it's a small coil. And they throw their back out.
What?
Not as much as aluminum can.
Really? Because it's thinner? Aluminum's thinner?
Same gauge thickness, but it's better.
Just reacts differently to heat.
Yeah. So aluminum can.
That's right. Yeah, copper can conduct.
Yeah, aluminum expands and contracts up to about 1.5 inches, where copper is about half an inch. So, I mean, contracts are a lot different. Yeah. But this one's been a really unique one. It's right on the water. And my family actually went out on the boat while I'm over here slaving away. So I made a video and I posted it out there where I was crying. I'm like, they're out there enjoying the good life.
I thought you were going to. Did they drive by the house?
They actually came out to the end of the boat dock. I was like, I want to walk down there and say hey to them. Then I started walking down the stairs because this property is up on the hillside. And so I got to walk down these stairs. And it wasn't too bad because, you go down the stairs real lively. And I was like, well, now I got to go out this 600-foot long pier. I was like, I'm not coming out there. So I called him.
It's awkward.
And I'm like, hey. And Maddie's like, hey, Daddy, love you. And it's off in the distance.
It's like making eye contact too soon in a hallway with just one other person walking the opposite direction. It's just an awkward long.
It is. I'm like, I got to keep coming. They're waiting, I'm like 2 hours.
Don't make eye contact. Okay. Politely make eye contact.
Well, then they drove off and I was like, well, I got to go back to work. I got to go up 95 stairs back to this. I got back to the top of my quads were killing me.
And it's been a hot week.
It has been.
Got a lot of storms coming in. So I think that always pushes hot, humid weather in front of it.
It's very hot. Very hot.
I don't think it's gotten above, 91? Maybe, but has it?
Oh, I don't know. It feels like I don't think it's gotten any lower than that.
Every morning I like the humidity. It says feels like 104, 105.
It's probably about
like a 10, 15 degree difference. But the downside of living in Florida in July, these next couple of months are going to be AC only for me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go from AC to.
That's right.
Wait for September and October for it to break. We'll get a couple hurricanes in, but.
How about your week?
I don't remember it. No, it's been good, but it's been busy. I had a lot of stuff come out of the blue this week that just weren't expected.
Yeah.
So it really tests your ability to flex, still get stuff done that you need to get done. There's a lot of this part of Florida. We have a lot of realtors in my brokerage that this is when they've got kids. So this is when they plan travel a lot of times. So I've had a lot of calls this week because we're in town. We don't go on vacation till the end of this month. Hey, I've had a client come in town, hey, can you jump over and show these homes and can you go over here? It's actually a pretty good business model, to be quite honest with you. Cause you can commission share those kind of things a lot of times. So a lot of realtors do that for each other. So it's got me a lot of it, but it's unplanned, so it's like, you go show in Gulf Breeze. That's not next door to me.
Right.
That's a 45-minute trip out there.
Yeah. And
then you're looking from house to house to house and you're good. And you quit about 6:30 and then you got to go home, by that time. So it can throw that kind of stuff, but I love every kind of opportunity to do that because I'm learning, especially when we're doing this because we're talking about the value of our time. And it's not just how much my time is worth. It's also about how I use that time. And, when you first kind of get into real estate, they list you all these kind of, when you're showing a home, you want to know everything about the home and you want to talk about it. You want to go through. What you start discovering is that's not a great use of my time. And a lot of times, because I just handed you or emailed you all the information you're ever going to need. I need to know the home, but concentrating on the person and the people and just talking to them, you actually get to know what they want, what they need. The showings go so much easier. The sale part of it goes a lot easier when you concentrate just on the person, utilizing that short amount of time you've got with a client to make a personal connection at the end of it. You should know something about their family and what business they're in and where, what they're looking for, why they're looking for a home and all of that kind of stuff. It's easy to spout out a lot of kind of information, even though that kind of time sometimes takes away from family. That's part of the business, we're in. But I think if you utilize it correctly, it goes a lot faster too. So you have a wise use of your time. You're also building relationships for life. That's what I love about real estate too. It's not just a sale and done like a lot of businesses are. If you're selling a product, I'm not selling a product, I'm selling me, that's going to last forever. Most of the guys have been around for a long time. If you just make it a long time, people are going to circle back around. I had so many conversations with realtors today that they're selling this summer. They've sold the same client their second or third home over the course of the last, 8-10 years because they keep coming back every single time. So concentrating on that kind of stuff and being able to, take it as an opportunity, not as a upheaval of my plans for the day, but an opportunity to be able to actually kind of do those, be able to sharpen my skill, sharpen my mind, sharpen my relationship, and keep the main thing. So, but we talked a lot about, today especially, I think it's been on your heart this week in our conversations as well as how important our time is.
Yeah.
And how devalued our time become. The busier we become, the less unfocused we become.
Absolutely.
We're not intentional.
Right.
And we can devaluate ourselves.
You got to say no sometimes, right? We don't always say no. I think, I don't remember if he said it on the podcast, but Scott Porter was talking about how he made the whole list of all the things that he was a part of. And then he's like, such a long list. And then you got to go and cut a lot of that out. Now you're going to break some hearts.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Scott Porter.
He's like, he said, I'm like on 15 boards and committees.
So imagine how much time you're pressed for.
Yeah.
Even if you're only devoting 15 minutes a day for those, if you did those every day, it's a lot. Because it's not just the 15 minutes of that time, that board. It's the prep time before it, get situated for the next thing. It takes a lot. I
showed up for a committee meeting at our Pensacola Association. And I sat down and realized this is not the committee meeting I thought I was going to. This is the other one. I can't remember what we're doing. You get excited at the beginning and you're like, yeah, I'll join. I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah, I can do that. And then you're like, I don't know any of these. What's happening right now? Please don't ask me to do anything.
A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. Yep. That's what they say, right? So, so about time. And it comes down to, we've talked about it multiple times for different things on the podcast, going back to, parting out our time and making sure that we get everything situated on our calendars and, block timing everything, because it's so essential. You can literally waste your time. And I'm real bad about getting sidetracked. Mm-hmm. If I'm not careful, I will get sidetracked on frivolous things. It just happens. So, this is something that I talk with a lot of people about and try to show them, how valuable time really is, because we don't always put it in the right perspective. So I'm going to ask the audience this question, Dan. If you want to answer, you're more than welcome to. But so question is, what's the most amount of money you've ever made at your job per hour, per day, whatever, the most amount of money? And if you want to, you can just say just some random number. You can say $1,000 an hour. It doesn't matter what it is. $45. Okay. So $45 an hour. That's a lot of money. Would you allow me to buy an hour of your time for $45? What if I paid you $500 for that hour? Would you sell me an hour of your time? Absolutely. Most people would say for $500, yeah, I'll sell you 2 hours if you'd like.
It's package deal.
I asked my wife, and she said, "Well, it depends. I might give you an hour for free." I'm like, well, you're my wife. I would hope so. So that's why I'm always broke. Exactly. I gotta pay for no, but I was like, well, you got to be careful when you say that. And so let's say I paid $500 for your hour. You just told me your hour's worth $500. I bought an hour of your time, but I don't want the next hour. I'm going to cash that hour in whenever I choose to. It may be the hour that you're supposed to be walking your daughter down the aisle. It may be the first steps that your child takes. I'm going to get that hour, so you don't get to see it. Maybe it's the last hour of your life when you're on your deathbed and somebody's coming in to see you just before you pass away. That's the hour I want. So when I ask it in that way, how much is your hour worth? Right? It's cheaper than doing it over. Whatever. Jim Rohn said, you can beat around the gongs a little bit if you want to, but, stroke of midnight, that's it. It's all gone. Sorry, folks. People say, well, I wish I had more time. Well, there's no more time.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all gone. So your time is super valuable. As a matter of fact, if I said the question this way, Dan, that hour that you're going to be walking your daughter down the aisle, would you sell that to me for $500? Would you do that? No. That last hour of your life, you're on your deathbed and somebody's coming to see you that hasn't seen you in a while, maybe your child because they live across the country. Would you trade that for me? Would you sell that to me for $500?
Never would.
What about $1 million? $1 billion? Probably not, unless I want to leave $1 billion to my family.
I think my daughter would understand.
Well, Dad, you should have taken the money. But the whole point is that
No, you're right.
it's super important. But what do we do with our time? We go to work, we make money, then we go out and we spend it on things. Some things we need, most of the things we don't need. I mean, raise your hands out here in radio world or podcast land if you've ever bought something that you don't need. Probably something you don't need next week. You're already a week into it and you're already, I don't do it. Yeah, like forgot I had it, don't need it. Thought I needed it last week.
Right.
Super important. But that money's gone. You go back to work to make more money to redo this vicious cycle. And what happens? You keep devaluing your time. And then what does that do to you? It starts cutting into your soul.
Yeah.
Like now I'm going to work so I can pay for these things that I thought make me happy. That's gone. That starts to break down, or we don't ever use it, or I lost it or broke. Now I got to go back to work to do this all over again. And that's why a lot of people are so angry at work, dissatisfied at work.
That's a mindset. I mean, that's so important to talk, especially for entrepreneurs. There's a mindset of the perpetually poor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's usually busier.
Yeah.
They usually work harder and work longer hours.
Yep.
For less.
Yes.
Of a return on their time. I think building wealth is a reclamation of your time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's not working more hours. It's not trying to get a higher wage. It's trying to earn that money to release the time that a job has a constriction of. I mean, you're a slave to your boss in a sense, not literally, but you truly are. And I think when people go into business, I think that's their number one goal is to have the freedom of their time, not necessarily the freedom to do nothing, but the freedom to have a choice in how their time is spent. And I think if we don't break away from that poor mindset, when your solution to every time you're short on the bill is, I got to make more money, you're always going to chase that tail.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you make more money? If you don't have the right mindset, guess what? I'm going to buy the things that I want to get another subscription to this and another this to this. And now I'm just poorer making more money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many people that make six figures, live in a nice house and have nice cars and don't own a lick of it.
Yep.
Don't own anything, have assets of nothing.
Yeah.
And they're hoping on their Social Security and their 401k.
It's true. And it's frustrating to see a world like that. And I've been a part of that. We've all been there. Nobody's perfect.
Been in that race.
You got to learn.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And it takes some learning and a wake up call. And it may be your own personal wake up call inside that says, okay, something's got to change. Or maybe somebody else outside of you says, hey, you need a change. And that's when it happens. But until then, I feel burdened for these people who don't understand what they're doing. Yeah. This is a vicious cycle. And somebody said one time, if you take all the money in the world and you divide it up evenly amongst everybody, it'll soon all be back in the same pockets. And that's because of the mindset.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the guy who's out here investing is making his money work for him so he can go and have that freedom. Absolutely. But then people look at him and go, well, shame on that guy for having too much money. No, he's making it work so he can have more time. And you're going and spending all your time so you
Yeah.
can work more. And that's the cycle of life. I mean, that's the rhythm that the world has told us we need to be in.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that work is bad. Work is actually what God intended us to do.
What's that? It's that old adage. Most people work for money. The wealthy, their money works for them. That sounds so simple,
Right.
but it's not as difficult as we think. But we're completely ignorant to it. I think so many people are completely ignorant to that concept of it. Their solution to everything is get a raise at work, or work for that bonus, or do this. And because once you've hit that, then you've achieved it. And now it's time to spend it,
Yep.
But wealthy people are asset driven.
Yeah.
Things that, are going to produce for them, which makes their time worth it. I mean, to be honest with you, you can't put a value on an hour of your day, of your life. It's priceless. So reclaiming any of it back, reclaiming the freedom to choose in that moment or to use it. I mean, I think about so often as, the Lord has called us to things, to a purpose in his kingdom. And how much of that time, that calling, do we surrender to someone else?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And not just work, but just even mindless things. How much time of God's called time do we surrender to, doom scrolling?
Oh, yeah.
Or to mindlessly watching something, or mind-numbing activities?
Mm-hmm.
That have no purpose, have no meaning. I'm not saying not have fun and do things that have no purpose from time to time. You need those kind of breaks. But I mean, I think if you really sat down, it's kind of like doing a budget. You do a home budget. We're sitting down, we were reanalyzing our budget this week, and looking at every little line item, every little dollar we spent. And, you can easily get into, well, I don't spend that much on X.
Mm-hmm.
We're really good at not spending a lot on this. Numbers don't lie.
That's right.
You go, whoa, okay, all right, well, that explains this, that,
Yeah.
this thing over here. We spent how much on that? Or, maybe we can live on this.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, that this month over here, we spent, 20% less on this. I don't remember starving that month, What's different about that month or this month? And it's the same time. I think you ought to maybe you can answer this question. How do you audit your time to see if you're actually doing things that attribute towards the worth of your time? I mean, how do you sit down and analyze that? I mean, a lot of people are sitting here agreeing and nodding their heads going, oh, absolutely, 100%, and then walk away and do nothing.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't give you that exact answer because you just said something a second ago, which is so true. We harp on the mind-numbing doom scroll, right? And for the most part, that's just a time waster and a time killer.
Yeah.
But there are times where it's not. My 9 o'clock doom scroll isn't killing my production time. However, it may be killing my sleep time.
Sure.
That I should be doing that. Right. But value in the marketplace is not hurting that because I'm not doing anything there. But is it really in the end of the day? Sure it is. But you got to have some of that. Sometimes you just use it as a stress release. Like I don't want to think about all my problems. I don't want to think about work. I don't want to I just want to go and laugh or see somebody else's problems.
Their problems.
My favorite. Who cannot walk upstairs. That's hilarious. I don't know. Sorry. They fall off the stairs and stuff or slip and fall. I'm so terrible, but
that is my favorite.
Yeah.
What's it called? There's a whole series of videos of what do they call it?
I don't know what they call it, but it's hilarious though.
I don't think it's very Christian. I think it's something like when God hates you or something like that, or it's one of those kind of things.
I mean,
walking out the door and
you're leaning on a column and you're talking and then it falls.
Or when God wants you dead, for sure. It's one of those kind of things,
But you were just talking about your budget. And I remember when Alicia and I, my wife, got on a budget and finally got it under control. We weren't vastly in debt, but we were living the American dream. Credit cards, cars on payments, the whole work. But we weren't making a ton of money at our jobs. And so we were like, well, we got to make something change here. And it was a lady at the bank, a teller at the bank who actually got it going. She said something that she probably shouldn't have said. And to us, but she did, and it got our mind going, and we're like, yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, you're right. If she wouldn't have said that, I don't know where we would have been. So in a professional setting, she probably shouldn't have said it the way she did.
Right.
And all she just said was, gosh, you guys eat out a lot. Well, mind your own business. But I was like, no, we don't. Then I looked down at the line items and was like, well, yeah, we eat
Thomas is that.
yeah. And it was at that moment, well, maybe not at that exact moment, but it was around that exact time that I started putting together this other idea where when I talk to people today about their finances and I help them with it, because we've gotten debt free, we've worked our way through all that. And so along that journey, we wanted to help other people. And I said, so I'll do it here for you, and the audience could follow along. But unless you're really, really one that does the same thing every day, this probably won't work. And you probably already have a really good budget and everything's fine. But do you remember what you had for breakfast this morning?
I don't eat breakfast.
Well, there you go. See?
So the answer is nothing.
All right. Then what did you have for lunch today?
Leftovers.
Okay. What did you have for lunch on Wednesday of last week?
No idea.
Already, just a week out. You don't even recall? What about on, let's say June 27th for dinner? What did you have?
Gosh, I don't know if I was alive on June 20th.
Yeah. See, why are we already forgetting that? Because it's insignificant.
Yeah.
Right. All those $1.17 purchases at the store,
Sure.
or a drink, or a $3 purchase here. You go, well, I forgot about it. But if I said, what day was your daughter born on? What day was your anniversary? What day did you meet your wife the first time? Or what day did you graduate high school? All these things, you'll probably remember most of that because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. We remember the big things, a big purchase. How much did you pay for that car? You're going to get it pretty close because it was a big purchase.
Yeah.
The small ones we forget about. And then when you get to the end of the month, like you're talking about with your budget, you go, holy cow, we spent a lot of money on this, on coffee. We spent a lot of money on eating out. I didn't realize that. I thought maybe it was $30. Turns out it was $330.
Right.
And it adds up quickly because we forget
Sure.
about those mundane everyday purchases, and it eats you up. The same thing happens with our time too.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how easily it can be affected.
It's, I remember back, I was probably in high school, and I remember my dad walked into the kitchen in the evening, and my mother has always did the budget for our family, for mom and dad. I have for 55 years. And I saw him take his debit card out and grab scissors from the drawer and cut it in half. And I was like, I've heard of credit cards being cut, Dad, but that's a debit card. He said, why'd you cut it? He goes, your mom just showed me what I spend on quick cups of coffee and a little snack throughout the entire month. He goes, it's huge. Wow. He goes, it accumulates, like a $3 cup of coffee once or twice a day, every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It adds up. And he said, until I can get under, he said, it's just easier to get rid of it. He said, I'll just grab cash or something like that. And he lived like that for probably 2 or 3 years. No debit card. Because he never went anywhere, out to eat without mom or something like that. Or he carried some cash on him. But he had to do that to he was like, okay, this is serious. If I want to, it's about that behavior and that the mindset of it has real world impacts. There was a point we started listing assets and liabilities.
Yeah.
And you're going down your line items and you're adding liability. That column is a little longer than I thought it would, and it's still going, Yeah. And you're like, oh gosh. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It's not just what our time is worth. It's how much we have sold it for.
That right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our life becomes about so many people's lives becomes about paying our taskmaster back for what's already been stolen from us. We're indebted to ourselves and our own,
Yeah.
and it's car payments are like one of those. I hate them. I was, it was the biggest celebration of my life when I paid off paid off a car. And I was like, I never want to have a car debt.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm never getting my money back out. It's not an investment.
Right.
In any sense. It's just it's a liability.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that cheap car I had didn't get me to another location any slower or any worse than a car that cost a lot of money, to get it. Why do I have this?
Say that again about the taskmaster.
Oh, you're asking me? I couldn't remember what I ate on June 27th. You want me to repeat what I just said?
It was so good. I was like, I didn't hear anything else you said after.
Let's play that back in the studio. No, I'm just kidding. We can't.
We need a new producer.
That's right. Joe Rogan has a guy that can do that.
Well, we don't have Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
We got to use
Spotify deal was not quite 300 million
or 300 pennies.
or any money whatsoever. I'm not sure if Spotify knows we're on there. That's like, you're that guy. Yeah.
My janitor has more.
I remember we were laughing about you guys the other day at the meeting. No, but I think, and I'd like, maybe we can work this out together, because I mean, we've put together some stuff that helps, and they're more about questions, because there might be a formula out there that's absolutely perfect figuring this out, but I really just think it's reflection between you and God. A lot of times we try to separate the spiritual from the material. They're not necessarily one and the same, but they're inextricably linked
Yes.
to it. And I think everything needs to be surrendered to God. And I think we need to ask ourselves some questions, not just what my time is worth. We know what our time is worth. God gave us this life that we breathe. It's incalculable.
Yeah.
Our time. Anything that costs that time that is not built towards purpose is stolen.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stolen.
If you're thinking about buying your first home, relocating to the area, or investing in real estate, I'm Daniel Callahan, realtor with ERA Old South Properties, and I'm here to make the process simple and stress-free. So whether you're military, moving across town, or looking to grow your portfolio, I've got your back. So let's find the right place right now. Call me at 850-903-4650 and visit my website at danielcallahanrealestate.com.
And I think, 9 to 5s are, it really is. It's just a form of theft in a lot of ways of our time.
Yeah.
Listen, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with it. There's a trade-off sometimes. It's like taxes. There's nothing inherently evil about taxes.
Right. Sure.
You pay for services. You're going to work for the government for 2 to 3 months. If you're working off a salary or an hourly rate, you're going to work January to probably April for the government every year. That's just what you are. And then the rest of the time, you're probably going to be working. I think I've seen somebody, I think it's the next, was it 4 months, 5 months? You're going to work paying off your own bills.
That's right.
And you're really only working November, December for you, if that much.
Right.
I mean, that's a good way to kind of imagine it. I mean, pull your bills down, see what it costs you to live every single month, grab your pay stubs, see what the government's taking out from you, see what your gross pay is supposed to be, and then put it on a calendar.
Yeah.
The closer you get to Christmas, the more enslaved you are.
That's right.
To that grind.
That's right.
You're not going to break free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It should be a question. If I stopped working today, how long would I live?
Right.
That's a good indicator of freedom.
That's right.
You know what I mean? How long could I survive if I stopped working today?
Yeah.
And you may feel good. I know a lot of people with great jobs, bringing in the money, great cars, nice house. They can't call in sick.
Yeah. Right.
Fall behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So tell us something. I mean, you went through this kind of process, and we do as well. We purposed a while ago. We started getting up at 5, whether we wanted to or not.
Yep.
Because we knew we needed to reclaim that time and have time before the Lord every single morning.
Yeah.
And, immediately when I started doing that, the devil started trying to reclaim that time back. You sit down in your office or whatever, and it's quiet. You're like, check my Facebook messages. And somebody sent me an Instagram. Like 30 minutes later, I had to take steps. I deleted all my social media. Now I'll load them back on weekends sometimes. We just have downtime at home, something like that. But as part of my daily life, it was amazing to me. I audited my time, how much time social media was stealing. Because I had to ask the question, what am I actually, what is in social media that's buying its worth in time?
Yeah.
Is it worth the 30 minutes I just gave it?
Yeah.
Or the hour?
Yeah.
That I just gave it, and you start auditing it. I think you has to be absolutely intentional. Every single morning when you're sitting there, God has given me the next, 14, 16, 18 hours.
Yeah.
Well, what has bought my time?
Yeah. Earlier, I want to go back a few minutes, and earlier you were talking about, the things that we need or we feel we have to have now versus waiting for it later. And you said it in some different ways, but and our shop, we've always been really well. And this goes back to how we got out of our debt and just, we rolled that into our business, just that mindset. But anytime we needed a certain piece of equipment, said, okay, well, that equipment's X amount of dollars. It may be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, maybe even more than that. But can we get away with using this other equipment that we still have or whatnot for a period longer until we can get that? Do we have to have it? Too many times people have to have the new shiny, right? That thing just glistens and it's like, oh, it can make everything so much better. But how much better can it make it right now versus what it's going to put on you? To where now you have to work even more when you didn't need to. You had to spend even more when you didn't need to. You could have just let it go for a little bit longer. Keep trucking along with that until you've made enough. So we got to watch out for that. And so it comes down to purpose, being purposeful, right? Yep. And so your time isn't just something you spend. It shouldn't be just something you spend and it's gone because it won't come back. You got to have purpose with it. So when I'm spending my time on any task, what is that task going to do for me or for somebody else? Primarily, what is it doing for the kingdom? We have to be kingdom focused because he's given it back to us. I mean, countless times I've given to God when he said to do it, and he's blessed me in return. Does it mean that he's always blessed me abundantly more? No, but he has. Does it mean that if I give $10, he's giving me back $10? No.
Yeah.
Maybe I give him $10 and I make that red light. Or green light, I should say. Because if I make the red light, I'm going to be spending more than $10. Especially if it's in the city.
Cameras
everywhere. Yeah. So let's take some of those down, guys. I'm tired of getting these tickets. I'm just kidding. I haven't gotten a ticket yet. My wife has, though.
I think I got one Sunday. I'm not sure. All I remember is hearing my wife scream, "Camera!" But I wasn't going to wait. No.
But yeah, it's so our time shouldn't be something we spend. It should be something that we sow.
Yeah.
Right. We should be constantly pouring in to things purposefully.
Yeah.
Purposefully.
You got it.
Did I get it right the first time? I have this.
Go to ChatGPT.
Yeah, purposefully.
How do you
really struggling with words lately?
Have you seen that video on that I think it's an African nation, and they are doing their oaths of office, and they have to do it in English because it's the national language, and this lady's trying to say, "Do my services conscientiously," and it came out conscientiously, and she goes, "Well, there you go. That'll do it. That'll do it." She goes, conscientious, and they were doing it like syllable by syllable, and she was laughing her head off at doing it. But no, I was sitting here thinking while you were talking, because I'm always an analytical. I can either use it or be paralyzed by it. But I'm trying to how to analyze every hour of my day, and I think we can kind of categorize it. Your time can either be stolen, it can be sold, it can be given, but I think it can be reclaimed. So, I mean, I think if you look at your 18 hours or your 14 hours of the day, depending on when you wake up and when you go to sleep, every hour is going to be one of those first three. It's stolen time from me. I'm working for somebody else, for somebody else's benefit, or someone else building their wealth. Or I've sold it. I mean, well, stolen is probably your taxes.
Yeah.
Distractions, social media, the mindless things throughout the day. You're selling it to somebody else. It's worth this much an hour. Or you can give your time. It's time you give to your family. It's time you give to your church. It's time you give to your community. But so much of that is lost time. Then decide, what of this time can I reclaim and how?
Yeah.
I think that's a basic question of everybody that's built any sort of wealth, is reclaiming my time. That increasing that asset column and decreasing that liability column, making that asset column pay for itself.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to be debt free, which you want to do 100%. But am I holding on to my money, waiting for that, rainy day?
Right.
Because if you stop working today, all you got savings, that's going to end. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And it's not really an asset. Paper's not real. That's not real money. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's how am I building that asset column to reclaim more time? Am I putting my resources and my efforts into an asset that allows me to claim this much time back? Right. I've got 365 days a year. I should be knocking down one day at a time. Little small steps. Hey, I've reclaimed a week of time.
Yep.
Reclaimed a day. I've reclaimed a couple hours. Everything is a step towards reclaiming your time. Because if God's called you, first of all, God's called everyone to something. He's called us to his commission. He's called us to a purpose. And the shade of that, the scope of that's going to look a little different for everybody. And that's between them and the Lord. But I don't want to be at the end of my life saying I sold too much of my time. Too much time was stolen that I couldn't give. I couldn't give enough time. I've told you this many times, in working a job and a corporate job, it meant nothing to me at the end of my life if I was a great employee at this. No one cares. My family wouldn't have cared. Dad was never at any of our games, missed birthday parties. We saw him a couple hours a week. Yeah, but, he made a good living.
That's right.
Who cares? Yeah, who cares? How much of that time are we reclaiming? I'd be interested to sit down and just, do that. I encourage everybody, sit down in the morning or in the evening, whatever's best for you. Analyze your next day. Categorize it. Stolen, sold, given. There should be I can almost guarantee everybody listening is going to have most of their time has been stolen or sold, most of it.
I mean, we're in a time, saving time. I don't want to really say the time, but we're in a time-saving time period, right? It's all about AI.
Yeah.
Get AI to save yourself some time. Don't worry about doing that yourself. Let AI do it, because we're so stretched thin as it is.
Sure.
We got to have all these different helpers. And so it's a big thing for everybody.
Yeah.
Which tells you that time is more valuable than the money. The money
Absolutely.
is great and everything, but it's the time we got to have. And so I ask all the listeners out here and everybody on our podcast who follow us there or on social media to go and read the latest article we put out this past week. I titled The 8-Hour Myth, and I'll kind of quickly go through it, but it's the way we do our business. And it costs us, from your typical business operation, it costs us some funds. I mean, we can make more money if we went the other direction. So we do an 8-hour day like most everybody else. We run a business on an 8-hour day. However, one caveat to that is the tasks that my guys are assigned, if they knock that out before 8 hours, they still get paid for 8 hours, even if they go home. They don't have to stand around and push a broom or do some meaningless task and wait until that 8 hours is up and then head home. If they're done in 4 hours, then they still get paid for 8.
Sure. Because
I don't want to say rewarding, but I'm going to use that word, rewarding them for their diligence to go and get it done. Don't be upset with them because they worked hard or to get it done. Just because somebody takes 6 hours to do it and somebody else takes 4 hours, you don't have to say, oh, you're probably ripping me off. No, I've kicked butt for the last 4 hours, wore myself out so I can reclaim that extra 4 hours. Now, what I want my guys to be able to do is whatever they want to do with it, but I wish that they would use it to give or to prosper more,
Well, I mean, that's a very stark example. I mean, they get paid 8 hours, say they get $20 an hour. They get the job done in 4 hours. Their time is now more valuable because they've worked 4 hours for $40 an hour.
Yeah. Their effective rate is high.
And they've received 4 hours back of their own time. Yeah. They've reclaimed that, which is incalculable. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great method not everybody is able to do that, but I think if we had more project oriented,
It's true. Not every business can do that. And I get that, but there are countless, and this is from an employee side, being an employee. We've all been employees, most of us anyhow. Some people were born straight into not being one, but how many people go, and this is their exact mindset. Well, I got to get my hours, so I'm going to slow down. Management thinks, well, that's how long it takes to do that project. Yeah. No, it's not. Because they know if they get finished early, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to send them home, or you're going to say, well, here's some more work. If I do more work, then I don't see any benefit from it.
Yeah.
The company sees more benefit, but I don't. And the worker doesn't want to do more work for only your benefit. Yeah. And then they definitely don't want to work hard and be sent home without any pay.
Yeah.
Because they've worked themselves out of a job. So they slow it down and say, this 8 hours needs to be 8 hours. Heck, I heard a guy the other day on a job site, not my guys, but another guy said, I got 2 hours overtime every day this week. I think they worked that entire day, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's no way they needed to have that overtime. But they did, and the company has no idea because they're not there overseeing it. So you got to be careful. I mean, if people go out there and look at their business and say, okay, can we restructure it?
Yeah.
There's plenty of businesses out there that could.
Yeah.
They would save themselves money, that made their employees happy, and that soul fatigue would go away.
What's that? You have to show value, your employees value for their time. There's that the law of diminishing
Yeah,
returns.
that's right.
It's the concept of, if one guy in your pizza shop can make 20 pizzas an hour, you automatically think, oh, if I hire another one, we can do 40. You started finding out you only made 30. And now the share is 15 pizzas per person an hour. So you've actually reduced your productivity by 25%.
Yep.
By reducing the workload. And we used to, in my old job, we used to say, listen, an employee without an end time or a goal every job takes 8 hours, no matter how much it takes.
Yep.
It was the old adage, how long is this project going to take? And they always say between 30 minutes and 8 hours. Depends on when you tell them. If there's no finish line, there's no goal, there's no tracking of it.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before the podcast. I was talking with another business owner who said, it's easy to have all these ideas and these things that need to be done and that would be great to implement. It wasn't until he just decided to put it on the calendar and he's under the gun and under pressure that things actually started getting done.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing too. I think unfulfilled or unmaterialized dreams in that sense, or unmaterialized plans that are beneficial, that help you to reclaim time, those are just as much of a theft as everything else is, because it's always on the back of your head. It steals your peace of mind. It's always that one day, and it's always the thing that doesn't get accomplished. If it's never planned, it's always going to be in the unaccomplished sense.
Yeah.
That's part of claiming your time. We've talked about time blocking. We've talked about structuring your day in an intentional way, because if you don't, something else is going to take that time.
Absolutely.
And it's usually never anything that is any utility, has any benefit for you. It's going to be busyness, or it's going to be mindlessness, or it's going to be counterproductive. Always. Don't expect it to happen just because you want it to.
Right.
It has to be an intentional thing. Nothing happens if it's not intentional.
That's right.
It just isn't. Even the assets that you have, when you start building passive income, that's an intentional decision that you made and a process you put in place to not steal your time. That is going to redeem your time.
That's right. You said it earlier, I think even before the podcast, but anytime you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else, right? So say yes to reclaiming your time. So you can say no to the things that are robbing you of your time.
Absolutely.
That are stealing your time, that are holding you hostage, and you feel like you can't break out of that cycle. Nobody else can do it for you.
Yeah.
It really has to be you. And, you and I can sit here, and there's countless other people who will say the same thing. We regurgitate a lot of information that's out there and say it in a different manner because there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
But it doesn't matter if you say it or I say it or somebody else says it. Until we take it to heart, it's not going to change. We have to make a change ourselves. And hopefully there's a lot of people out here listening that just haven't heard it in the right way. Maybe the way we said it today will catch it in their heart and they can change some stuff and start reclaiming their time.
Well, and two, we're developing some free resources for people that follow us and see that just helps you identify that. I think we're going to call it a time audit or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. To be able to reclaim your time, it's just like your budget. You can't affect what you don't measure.
That's right.
And the same thing with your time. We do that with almost everything else, except for our own time.
Yeah.
Because we just think we've got to just run and just do all day.
Yeah.
And if we do that, we're just going to find ourselves every single day just robbed of anything effective, of anything that's going to have any sort of benefit, that's going to help us serve him, that's going to help us serve our families and be there for our families.
That's right.
And our community. So, sit there, challenge it even before we have this out. Sit there in the morning, go through your calendar and say, how much of this has been stolen time? How much of this have I sold? Then ask yourself the question, how much am I really willing to give? There's your goal, right? There's your goal. I need to reclaim 4 hours of my day because I'm missing my kids. Because I'm not able, I've said yes to everything else and said no to everything at church.
Right.
I'm not involved. I'm not doing something because I'm so busy everywhere else. Because at the end, serving time for Christ and serving time for his purpose and in our families is the asset that brings the greatest returns.
That's right.
Money is meaningless in the sense of giving us any sort of purpose. Money is a tool that allows us to reclaim the time that God has given us to serve Him.
And you know what? He's an awesome God. And when we do that, we fear that we're going to lose the money, but
Yep.
he's such an awesome God because it all belongs to him that when we do it, going back to the parable of the talents, when we do what he's asked us to do, what does he do? Give that talent to him.
Bless us more.
He's going to bless us even more.
Yep.
And remember, in that parable of the talents, he never said, give me the talents back.
No. Never did.
Not one time.
Said take more. That's awesome. Well, God has amazing plans for all of us. And we say this all the time. Christian entrepreneurs are just uniquely, I think, suited to serve him in creative ways around the world and to impact this world. But we have to get in the right mindset. And you're either a slave or you're a servant, and those are very different things. Slaves have no control. Servants know their purpose and they have value. And we want to reclaim our time, not just for our own personal benefit or for our own enrichment. We want to reclaim our time because our purpose before God is to serve him. And our business, by the way, serving him in our business isn't just putting verses on our SOPs or things like that. It's literally serving him with our time and our business finances and our business purpose in every single way, and reclaim it. Start identifying today things that are stealing your time. That's probably be easier than you think. Just make a list. What is stealing my time? From social media to the useless, to things at work, people that you work for, the government. List those things out, place them on the altar before God, and find out how in the world we're going to be able to reclaim that time. There's so many ways to reclaim that time. Both of our timers.
We're
professionals. But that's our challenge. That's our challenge for you. Take a time audit. Sit down and do it. Do it on purpose. Lay it before the Lord every single morning. So that's been awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's challenging every single day.
Yeah.
Blows my mind every day how little, when you let go of the rein a little bit, how much time gets stolen from you.
Yeah.
So take your time back.
That's it.
I say. All right. On that, we'll see you next week. We've got some guests coming in on our next few podcasts. I think you'll really love and will enjoy it. So take a moment, like and share us, and get the word out. We'll see you next time on our Entrepreneur Podcast.
Did you enjoy that episode? Excellent. We hope you did. Guess what? There's more. Go to Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere that you get your podcasts. Listen to us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. UPNM Radio 103.7. Follow and subscribe. Stay up to date on new episodes by following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Join the conversation. Comment on Facebook or Instagram. Send us a message and comment at the ARC Entrepreneur Podcast at gmail.com. Share the episode. If you enjoy it, tag us and let us know your favorite takeaway. Thank you for joining us for our radio broadcast. If you want to hear the rest of the episode, go to our website, thearcpodcast.com.